Ferrari and Lamborghini-loving Robert Herjavec is my guest. He is a first-generation Canadian immigrant who has lived a rag-to-riches story. The family came here with 20 bucks or so and a shabby suitcase. Their son overcame some interesting odds to earn incredible wealth. Some of his life is wrapped in his new book, The Will to Win. I ask you just briefly before the break, nice guys finish first or last?
It's a fallacy. I think you can be a nice guy, but that doesn't mean, what's the expression I always use? Don't mistake my kindness for weakness.
Okay.
I'm a very nice guy, but there are horrible, mean people in the world. You gotta learn to stand up for yourself.
How do you do that in business?
You know, Fanny, it's like anything, you just gotta learn. I was taken advantage of so often. I mean, by other kids, by people in business. I was ripped off. But you learn. I just wanted to get my desire to move myself out of my situation was so great that it was tangible. So anything that happened to me just kind of skated right off me.
So you just dusted it off in a way.
I
You
have
learned
no pride.
from it.
I learned from it. I have no pride. I have no shame. There is nothing that life will do to me that I can't wake up tomorrow and recover from.
And fix.
Nothing. Except for my family,
Okay.
because that, you know, for me, you've got to have a reason. You've got to have a reason to get ahead. And your family is your family. They don't love you because you have money or because you're successful. They love you because you're a dad or you're a mom.
Well, one of your sons is with you.
He is.
And if I ask him, what makes Dad tick? What do you think he'd say?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably a pretty difficult guy to live with. I know my wife says I am because I have a hard time. For me, relaxation is doing 50 things at once. For my wife, it's doing one thing. So I can be a pain in the you know what. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask him after, you know, so we'll get the truth. The truth
But I've
will.
been married for 23 years, so I must be doing something right.
Absolutely. Yeah, something's good. And she's not just in it for the money. No, not that
Oh my
wife.
gosh!
Not
you know,
your wife.
When we got married, I'll never forget the moment. The hardest moment in business I ever had was we were married. I was running this big company. We go on our honeymoon. Long story. I go to work. I say, honey, I'll be back in a couple hours. Guy fires me, sues me for $5 million, saying I was defrauding the company. I come home. I tell my wife. She's in tears. We just bought a house. We have no money. And she says, am I going to lose my car? So that's how it started 23 years ago. And it's been, it's hard not to go up from there.
Exactly. And what does she drive?
She could care less. She drives a 9-year-old Porsche Cayenne. And if you put a gun to her head and say, what kind of a car do you drive? Is it a BMW or a Porsche? I don't think she could tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't really care. Doesn't share that passion of yours.
Doesn't share that passion.
Talk to me about passion. There's a surgeon you write about in the book. And he's obviously a great surgeon, and he's passionate about music.
I think you've got to find what makes you tick. And I think greatness comes from when you marry your passion with your job. Because I don't really think I have a job. I love what I do. And I always say that to kids. I talk to a lot of kids who are at university and say, how do I make a lot of money? And I say, forget the lot of money part. Find something you're going to be great at and let the money follow you.
So what is it about people who find their passion, who work hard and never make a dime? Well, they make a few dimes, but not enough. They never get there.
You know, Fanny, it's interesting because we have this conversation all the time. I live in a very affluent area, and I have these quarterly dinners, or I used to with my neighbors. So at one point I had 20 guys. They were all worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and we asked that same question. Can you always be successful, even if you love what you do and all the other stuff? And the reality is, as my dad said, if you work hard, you will never be poor in life. But just because you work hard doesn't mean you'll be rich. Sometimes you need to get lucky. But the reality is that the harder you work, it's true, the luckier you get.
So when you swan around in that private island in Florida and run into Oprah, what do you talk about?
Success. So I'm a real student of success. I ask people a lot of questions, just like you. And so the first thing I did was it was raining, and I asked her if she wanted a ride because nobody drives on the island. So I put her on my golf cart, and then I said to her, I thought it was her, but she didn't have the wig. You couldn't tell. So I said, I loved your book. She had written a book about exercising. And to my shock, she says, what was your favorite part? And I had read it, fortunately.
Yes.
And so we talked about success, what made her tick, and how to run a good business.
And so as you look at her in the OWN network and the struggles she's had with that, and she keeps going at it and at it.
I love that woman. Who would be at the top of their game? Think about that. She was the top person on network television with a show for 20 years, and then she leaves that to start something from nothing. I mean,
right.
I
She's
admire the
a bit
courage.
like you, the serial entrepreneur, and came from not much.
She came from nothing. It's an incredible story. I think she was molested as a child. In fact, that she was pregnant at 17. I mean,
Yes.
it's an incredible story. And that's the great thing about life. As hard as you think you have it, my gosh, someone's had it harder.
One of your passions is TV, I think. Somebody lied to you and told you make money on television, which is not the truth.
Isn't it funny though, Fanny? How many people do you meet that think that to be rich, you have to be famous? To be rich, you have to be on TV. In fact, it's funny, all my relatives say to me, as big a company as I have and everything, my relatives, who are all immigrants, all say to me, will you ever make as much money in business as, the people on TV?
Like on the Shark Tank?
Like on the Shark Tank and stuff, yeah.
So when you are sitting with the Shark Tank gang,
Mark Cuban and Kevin and Barbara, Damon.
6 of you? How many?
There's 5 of us. There's
5.
never more than 5 because
Okay.
it's a format dictated by Sony. Sony owns the show, but they alternate the women between Barbara and Lori Grenier.
Okay. Somebody comes in front of you and you either say, I'm in or I'm out.
Right.
What's your litmus test?
The person. The person. A great entrepreneur can make an okay business great, but a bad entrepreneur can take a bad idea and bankrupt it. So business is not hot and sexy and exciting and doing stuff like this. Business is a lot of mundane tasks that have to be done all the time.
Okay.
So I want a person that's going to wake up and work 20 hours a day and keep that goal in mind.
And a person who's enthusiastic. Obviously, I watched the show on Friday. The young man,
The belt guy.
the belt guy, the
Right.
mission belt, a belt that goes around almost anybody. It's one belt, right? And you can cut it off. It's holds your pants up or not.
Well, the first thing when you're selling anything is you got to sell yourself. And you know that. Some people just have an aura that invites others in, and some people are just miserable, and you don't want to be with them. I mean, just like in your office, I'm sure there's people that you see walking down the hall, and you're like, I don't want to spend any time with them, so you turn around. You've got to be the person others want to be with.
Sure, but you also have to ask a practical question or two, like what's your distribution
Yes, 'cause
network? How are you going to sell this thing?
Funny thing, Fanny, is most people don't know, we don't know anything about the people. We have no background, we have no research. When they get out there, they're in front of us for over an hour.
Okay, really? And the belt guy, I mean, he sells belts door to door. He's so
In
keen
LA.
on it. In Los
Yeah,
Angeles, where you
yeah.
can get shot going door to door. That's pretty good.
That's very good. That's hustle.
But you didn't buy him, did you?
No, I
You
didn't.
said no.
Damon. Yeah.
Okay,
I kind of regret that
okay.
one, to be honest with you, because he was such a great guy.
Right.
But it's hard. We're there 12 hours a day. We film for 20, 25 days in a row. You start to lose it after a while.
sure. I
Yeah.
get that. Well, David Foster said, and I think you write about it in here,
Right.
that just when you think you have everything worked out, you probably don't.
You don't. What a great story, though. So most people see nothing but the success in David Foster. Do you know that he passed on My Life Will Go On, Celine Dion's biggest song? So he's done every other song,
Of course.
except her biggest one, and she brought it to him initially. And I love how he tells the story. It just goes to show you, you don't have to be right all the time.
No. Who is right all the time? No one. If you think you're
one.
right all the time, I think that would be a detriment.
It's true. Unless my kids are watching, then I'm
Okay.
always right.
Of course you are.
Right.
But you can be right or you can be happy. What do you want us to get out of this, the will to win?
You know, it was a labor of love. I want people to get out of it that if I can do it, anybody can do it. There's nothing special about me. You just got to have the desire, and you just got to go out there and do it.
In your next car race coming up?
Montreal Grand Prix. Yeah.
Of course. Oh, nice to see you
Fanny.
again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Robert Herjavec, The Will to Win, Leading, Competing, Succeeding. And remember, you can catch our conversations on YouTube or follow me on Twitter at Fanny Kiefer. There'll be many more entrepreneurial, entertaining, out-of-the-box guests to come. Thanks for watching Shaw TV and being with us today.